you, James, are well known for being angry about the response by the supposedly conservative governments around the world to the COVID virus. But you were told by one reader in The Spectator that you weren't actually angry enough. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, well, I did get a note from a very well-connected former Liberal who said I wasn't angry enough, and that effectively we have sacrificed a whole generation of children for effectively nothing. As the results come in, the data comes in, lockdowns really effectively did nothing. We have higher cumulative excess deaths in this country than Sweden. I mean, and excess deaths take all deaths. They look at, your 5-year average before the pandemic, and they know how many deaths you can expect. And so there's this attempt to just focus on COVID deaths, and nobody knows how the attribution went, because there was a lot of people dying with COVID, and that's distinct from because of COVID. In Britain at one point, if you had COVID and were hit by a bus, that counted as a COVID death. And so, a lot of people went into the hospital fine with some other disease and they caught COVID there. And so it's really hard to disaggregate all these deaths. But excess deaths you can't gain. You know how many people you expect your country to die, and we have really bad excess deaths right now.
Well, they were up 13, just to be clear, they were up 13% for the first 6 months of this year. So go on.
Right. Yeah, so you're right. So lockdowns are killing lots of people. So suicides are up, alcoholism's up. We have destroyed the lives of a generation of young poor people. The wealthy and the middle class had parents who could stay at home. They'll be fine, as they always are. But the poor, hammered. If you look at the school results around the world, or here in Australia, they've lost at least a year or more of reading.
Let's just elaborate on that, James, because today the news came out that Year 9 boys in NAPLAN, their reading levels are lower than at any time since NAPLAN testing began. You'd have to attribute that to the COVID lockdown, wouldn't you?
Largely, not exclusively. I tend to agree with Mr. Donnelly that the school curriculum is terrible for boys. It's run by sort of touchy-feely women, feminists. So the kind of books that boys want to read, you're not getting. And so and I don't think the way that we're actually teaching, the kind of way that works, where you have a teacher at the front and everyone looking at the teacher, and you've got a little bit of discipline. At the university level, students hate it when you break them up into small groups and you have them talk among themselves. Look, the students don't want to talk to other students who know nothing. What is the point of that? And that's how the educational establishment works. They spend half their day coming up with new jargon. So you don't call them students, you call them learners, and pathways to achievement. It's just all vomit-inducing stuff, to be honest. So that's a big problem. But clearly COVID was a huge problem as well. And, we literally, these people who ran the fear porn journalist press and who were making out COVID to be, which never really plausibly had an infection fatality rate getting anywhere near 1%. Never. These models were useless. The data was always clear right from the Diamond Princess. We had a pretty good idea back then. And so they have,
Ruby Princess, you mean?
Ruined the economy, ruined young people's lives. They've destroyed the small business sector. These are all natural right-of-center voters. Why would the small business sector, who have been massively destroyed, want to support the Liberals?